Ladies and gentlemen, welcome along to day 2 of this, the UNSQUASHABLE Premier League here in Auckland at SquashXL. And the two players on court at the present time, that is Glenn Templeton, who's in the blue. He is the New Zealand junior champion, 18-year-old that he is. He won the Under-19 championships last year here in Auckland. And he's up against the 21-year-old player from the Remuera club in Auckland. That is Michael Shelton-Agar. He is in the red. So this is the first of the 2 plate matches today. It'll be followed by the second plate match, and that is Leo Fatialofa, the 17-year-old, up against Jack Conder, who also is a teenager from Auckland. And then we have the 2 semi-finals. That first semi-final is Joe Arscott up against Elijah Thomas. Of course, Joe Arscott has a ranking inside the top 250 in the world. Elijah Thomas, also a ranked player, albeit that he is just 17 years old. So Elijah Thomas currently a 257. Joe Arscott is a 235. And the completion of matches today will feature Temwa Chileshe with a current ranking of 337 up against Anthony Lepper, who has a ranking of 256. So the majority of players here do have PSA rankings, with Joe Arscott the highest ranked at 235. So we have 4 matches today, 2 plate matches to start with, and then 2 semi-finals of this, the UNSQUASHABLE Premier League at SquashXL in Auckland. And we'll be keeping you up to date with the 2 plate matches. And then when we get to the semi-final contests, we'll have full commentary of both of those matches. So stay tuned here on PSA, SquashTV, on the YouTube channel, and enjoy squash. It's the first squash that we've seen for quite some time. We hope you enjoy it. You're going to see some slightly unorthodox shots here from the player in the red, that is Michael Shelton-Agar. And then you have Glenn Templeton, a very tall, strong player, just still a teenager, 18 years old. You're going to see some powerful hitting from him, although he does cover the court very well. So keep tuned in to enjoy your squash. And for those people watching this squash from anywhere around the world, I guess you have to remember that it has been 7 or 8 weeks for most of these players before they got on court, which was the first time yesterday. And it certainly had become a lot cooler in Auckland compared to what it was when they last got on court. It was very warm. And yesterday, last night in fact, it was quite chilly for Auckland, whereas today it is the afternoon in the city and a nice 19 degrees, so a lot warmer in the court. And these players are still getting back into their groove and still getting back into a match play as well. So the first couple of games for every match yesterday took a little while for players to really get into their stride, and a few unforced errors, but then by the time we got later into the matches, certainly players were showing their style and their true fitness as well. A particularly good match was featuring Glenn Templeton against Elijah Thomas, and that one went the full 5 distance, although Thomas took that one 11-1 and the 5th in the end, but certainly the first couple of games were very entertaining and some very good rallies too. So all of these players now very happy to be on the court once again after so many weeks away and so many weeks of fitness off the court. Now to actually get back on, a real benefit for everybody. And we're back for the second game about to get underway of this, the first match. It is a plate match, and it is Glenn Templeton up against Michael Shelton-Agar. Shelton-Agar taking the first game 11-9. A few unforced errors there by both players, but it will take them a little while, as we said. This is just their second match after yesterday for 7 to 8 weeks, and all players getting used to the competitive edge again. Also quite unusual for players that there is no crowd, because the rules in New Zealand are that, yes, you can play competitive sport, albeit that numbers are kept low, whether the competitors, also the gatherings as well, as it's called. So it's an unusual atmosphere in that there's no one really here watching, just the players themselves and organisers. So quite an education for players as well, having to really get out on the glass court, the only permanent glass court in New Zealand, and a different experience, you might say. So players about to get underway, and this is the second game of their first plate contest. It is Glenn Templeton in the blue up against Michael Shelton-Agar in the red. as this first plate match continues into the thick of the second game. Joel Arscott, different conditions today, quite warm outside, and we're in the afternoon here in Auckland. And I guess that's going to really alter the way these players continue in a rally.
Yeah. You can see almost on the right of your screen, for the people watching, there's a lot more sun coming into the centre, and the balls are bouncing a lot more. Longer rallies to be expected with that warmer ball, but I guess what we can expect is maybe a few more balls coming back than what we saw last night. Longer rallies, just that kind of thing. Balls staying very short yesterday.
I guess the other thing is, after one match, players are a little bit more into their groove. Maybe, it's only been one match, but still just feeling a bit better. Maybe could be feeling a little bit tired in the legs or part of the body as well.
Yeah. I guess it's been a while since the boys have played a full-on intense match, especially, going straight into it after such a long break. So there'll be some sore bodies today, and but I think the nerves is the big thing that we'll notice. Maybe less errors at the start of matches, things like that. Michael opting for short on this occasion.
So as you would have heard there, we've been playing short or long. And,
and a nice finish. So Michael might be regretting his choice there with the short after that shot.
Exactly. But the shot from Glenn was hit against the side wall way back.
Yeah.
It wasn't usually, I guess, if you're going to use the side wall, you're going to use it a little bit closer to the front.
Yeah.
That one was...
It's funny, like they used to use the Aussie boast a lot with that, going all the way up the front on the front right wall or whatever wall it is, but it just hits into the side wall, just narrows out, where nowadays they're going all the way back and then they're going for the four-wall boast almost, and it hits the side wall and nicks like that.
Exactly. He was in the forehand right and the forehand back, and managed to use the boast, and very effectively as well. So that is second game, albeit a very close one there, to Glenn Templeton. We're at 1-1, back very shortly. And back in for the third game of this. The first match, it is a plate contest. Glenn Templeton, the teenager, just 18 years old, up against the oldest player, albeit just 21 years old, and Michael Shelton-Agar and Joel Arscott. It's been entertaining so far. The players, two very close games, 11-9 and was it the second 11-10?
Yep.
So it's been very close. Certainly, I think both players appear to be relishing the warmer temperatures and the bit more bounce in the ball, a bit more of a longer rally, perhaps.
It's only been 16 minutes now, but
Yeah.
but yeah, it's that middle ground stage now where we see the better player usually going away with it. So this is an interesting time. You know, different conditions, as you said yesterday. So all those things play a factor right now. And that's what they don't want, is to make those soft errors at this sort of crucial time. Big difference between being 2-1 up and 2-1 down.
Again, using the sidewall, using the boast, it really is a strength of Glenn Templeton, certainly in this match and other matches as well. He's a big lad, very tall, but is able to move quite well considering his height and his, I guess, his shoulder width as well. He's a strong guy, or looks very strong.
A lot of reach in those limbs.
And you do have to remember that this is the first of 4 tournaments. I mean, everybody's going to try their best in this event. However, it's probably smarter to make sure you've got something left for the next 3 weeks as well.
Yeah, they've got to be pretty smart about it. They've been doing 4 or 5 weeks of, well, not nothing, but no intense match play, and certainly not competition, so you have to be kind of smart about that and take that into account, especially in these plate matches.
And Joel, you have a friend or a supporter coming through online there. Ed Taylor says hello.
Big Ed, yep.
Hello back to you, Ed, from Joel and myself, Dave Worsley. Joel will be on the court a little bit later on, and the first semi-final up against Elijah Thomas, and that'll be a tough contest as well. He's such a hard player to beat because he runs everything down.
Yep, certainly does.
Nice work.
Nice squeeze there on the forehand wall. A lot of action down the forehand actually from these guys. Both got big swings. We saw Michael last night in my match. You know, a lot of woodens on that forehand. Puts a lot of power into it. Almost raises his swing like Ramy Shaw. I think I saw someone say on the feed last night. And yeah, really whips it through with his wrist. That's Glenn going for that through-wall boast again, not finding the neck that time.
Quite remarkable in this particular contest, just how much play is going down the forehand side. Generally,
the
these players try and hammer each other's backhand. In this one, though, they're using the forehand side so often.
It's an interesting one because hasn't really worked in either of their favours at the moment. Certainly very attacking squash through this middle period.
You're not getting the big rallies at the moment, but that's probably not these two players.
No, definitely not. Both looking, both got good short games and love taking the ball in. And when you're playing on a glass court like this, it's a lot of temptation on there. And just see that getting the better of Glenn. Oh, great touch. It's a lot harder than it looks, that shot, taking it off the front wall on the volley.
That is the third game. So he's up 2-1, Shelton-Agar. He is unranked on the PSA rankings against Glenn Templeton, who does have a PSA ranking. Been playing quite a few tournaments, actually. His current PSA ranking is 357 in the world, whereas Michael Shelton-Agar is unranked at the present time. back very shortly with the fourth game of this first plate match.
So pressure's on Glenn now. He is younger, but he is higher ranked, as Michael's not actually ranked. So pressure's on, 2-1 down. Only been under 25 minutes, so I don't think either of them will be massively fatigued, but it's just a matter of how do you manage that, you know, with the scoreline and the position he's in. So it'll be interesting to see what his response will be.
Well, Glenn Templeton did play 5 games yesterday, albeit their final game was fairly straightforward to Elijah Thomas. He won that 11-1. So 5 yesterday. It really does look as though he's just playing himself into the tournament and perhaps for the next 3 weeks. I mean, you never want to lose. I'm not saying he's going to do that. But Michael Shelton-Agar is a little bit unorthodox in certain ways. And you played him yesterday, Joel, and you know he does make you work and try and figure out how to beat him.
Yeah, he's a slippery kind of player. Can be very irritating to play against with his swing and his shot choice, which does catch you off guard a little bit. But no, as you said, Glenn's aware that he's got 4 tournaments in a row, and again that he hasn't played in a while. So, but yeah, it's still interesting just to see how he'll react here.
Well, that right-hand corner is really going a bit dead. They're getting a lot of bounces just hitting the join, and it's working into that corner if you can get it there. We should explain that the ages of these two players. Well, we've got the oldest one, and he's only 21. That is Michael Shelton-Agar and 18-year-old Glenn Templeton. So it really is a tournament for those players on the rise around New Zealand, the domestic players, some of the best domestic players around New Zealand. And the youngest being 17, or only just 17 a couple of days ago. And that is Fatialofa against the 21-year-old Michael Shelton-Agar.
See the boys taking the ball in pretty sharply in this 4th set. Just that ball sort of softening up happens. You'll see it a lot on SquashTV with the top boys as well, but these white balls on these glass courts, they take a beating trying to get any length or get the ball to the back. So when you get to this half-hour mark, 40-minute mark even, you know, the ball really softens up and you've got to hit a lot higher on that front wall to get it to the back. And unless you've had that experience on this court or on courts like this, it's a tough thing to adapt, you know. And it's usually the case at this sort of time. It's who can get the length first, or in this case, you know, get those balls up at the front.
Well, Joel, for you, you played last night and you were one of the earlier matches. However, how did you spend this morning? Was there anything particular? Did you train? Did you go for a bike ride? Did you take some time off?
Yeah, usual routine for me. Usual routine for me is just pre-match or pre-tournament match. Nice hit out in the morning. I'm fortunate enough that I actually live at the venue, so wasn't a problem getting court time this morning on this glass court. And heading with my training partner and flatmate, Temwa. So yeah, just nice, easy hour and a half. Shaking those nerves out, getting the legs going for tonight. See a lot of low kills, low winners at the moment. Right on cue, the forehand fan off the serve. That is a very hard shot to play.
Nice recovery. Michael Shelton-Agar taking this rally again. And the official for this tournament is Heather Finlay. Doing a lot of work, actually. She's got 4 matches to go through.
Yeah, she's got to adjust as well with the shorter long rule at the end. But a very loyal referee supports the events here at SquashXL. And again, we see that 3-wall boast from Glenn. It's a real weapon to have, especially on the back foot. Tough movement to make if you're in Michael's shoes. Oh, nice.
Well played. He's got pretty good touch, Michael Shelton-Agar.
Yeah, a lot of his balls staying very short. Not sure how much experience he's had on this court, but certainly adjusted very well, right on cue.
Well, there you go. Takes that one in 4. So Michael Shelton-Agar taking the match here, this first plate match, and defeating Glenn Templeton in 4 games. Congratulations there to Michael Shelton-Agar. We're going to be back not too far away, in fact, with the second plate round, and that will be Leo Fatialofa up against Jack Conder. So not too far away on that one. The first contest here with Shelton-Agar winning in the 4 over Glenn Templeton. If you feel inclined. I don't mind, I just... Yeah, I've got okay communication with my lovely wife. I should probably want to try at home. Yeah, fair enough, too. Thank you, Joel. And just to let everybody know who it is watching around New Zealand or overseas, the next contest will be 3:45 New Zealand time, and that is approximately 8 minutes from now. So 3:45 New Zealand time PM on a Saturday, and it is Leo Fatialofa, the 17-year-old who does have a PSA ranking, up against Jack Conder, one of the better juniors in New Zealand. Following that at 4:30 New Zealand time will be the first of the semi-finals. Joel Arscott up against Elijah Thomas, both with PSA rankings, and 5:15 New Zealand time, Temwa Chileshe up against Anthony Lepper. So plenty of matches to come, and you can see at the moment on the screen those match times. So we look forward to coming back to you very shortly. Multitasking, thank you, man.
Yeah, James got us to look after it. He's great. He's really
Here we are now at the second plate match of the Unsquashable Premier League at SquashXL. Thanks to John Duggan for putting on this event for a number of New Zealand's top domestic players. The top ranked player is Joel Arscott with a ranking of 235. But with me now is Temwa Chileshe, and Tim, you have a ranking of 337. Do you actually know your ranking all the time? Do you keep tabs on it?
Yeah. We often check it every month when it changes. So yeah, we do.
I guess you sort of feel between, say, you and Joel, who you practice with every day. I'm sure there's 100 places, but it doesn't mean that much. Between 235 and 337 isn't that much, is it?
Yeah, no. I think once you break that top 200 mark, it's quite hard to move up. But when you're a bit lower down in the sort of 300s, it's quite easy to move up with just one good result.
Right, well, let's look at these two players here, Leo Fatialofa and Jack Conder. Leo there serving in the blue, and Jack Conder the white. And both teenagers. And here we go, we're just adjusting a couple of things here. We'll seem to be back with you right now. So and Jack Conder, he is 18, I believe, whereas Leo Fatialofa has just turned 17, the youngest player here at this tournament. The oldest player is only 21.
Yeah.
So everybody is
Quite young.
yeah, fairly young, and it's good though, competition to see everybody get going.
It's good movement here by Jack.
What can you expect from these two players? I mean, they're both young. Fatialofa showed a lot of speed on the court yesterday. Showed really athletic, and Jack Conder, well, he's just really determined.
Yeah, he's a really determined player. I think Leo's a little bit quicker off the mark. But Jack's got some really good endurance in his legs, so it'll be a good test between these two. It's good movement, as you can see there by Jack.
Leo Fatialofa from the Henderson Squash Club in West Auckland, whereas Jack Conder, well, not too far away at the Shelton-Agar Rackets Club, also in West Auckland as well. Jack Conder plays with his heart on his sleeve just about every single point. You'll see that.
Yeah, always.
And he loves to hit a winner rather than stay out there for longer, but things may change. And certainly good experience for both of these players to be on the glass court and also to have vision to be live streamed around the world. And also to be around other players, whether it's players with PSA rankings. That's just about everybody here does have a PSA ranking, but just to be around others and learn.
It's that first bit of exposure for some of us, so it's quite cool to have that so early on in our careers.
For you, I mean, you're still a teenager, albeit just for another few months.
Yeah.
Have you been, when you've been around professional players, whether it's Paul Cole when he's been here briefly, or other players who have played at more of a pro level, have you learnt off them?
Yeah, definitely. I think you just try and soak up everything you can when you're with those top players. I know Joel recently went to the World Teams Championships end of last year, and he said it was an amazing experience. And he just started seeing what all those top players do for their warm-ups, how they approach each match. He said that quite a lot.
touch.
Shot. Jack saving a few game balls here.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where he's perhaps learning or perhaps needing to learn the patience. He's just saved a couple. Much better rally. Taking their time.
Probably the longest rally of the match here. Ooh.
Oh, well, there you go. That is the first game, and that is probably the longest rally of the whole tournament so
Yeah,
far
I
in the
think
2
so.
days we've had. And good to see Jack Conder involved in that, because usually he'd be just wanting to finish it off so quickly. But in that one, well, he had the opportunity and stayed in it for a very long time against Leo Fatialofa. But in the end, it is Fatialofa taking that, the first game of this, the second plate match. On day 2 of the Premier Squash League, it is the Unsquashable Premier League. And great to have all 8 players taking part here at SquashXL. We'll be back with the second game very shortly.
It was happened to be game ball, so I just want to double check. So that mean Temwa you're not going to give me any more shit? No. You don't anyway.
He's Team Lepper in New League.
I know. It's even worse here, mate. He should be angled straight on. Yeah. That's all right, Jim. Looking smooth, Barry. Did you join the other 50 people in the queue? 15 seconds.
And welcome back into this, the second game of the second plate match of the Unsquashable Premier Squash League here in Auckland. This particular match, 2 of New Zealand's best juniors. We have in the blue, Leo Fatialofa, and in the white t-shirt, that is Jack Conder. And Temwa, Chileshe, you were expecting this to happen in this match, that Fatialofa just a little bit too consistent, taking out the first game?
Yeah, I think Leo did really well at containing Jack, because Jack can really run all day and pick up a lot of balls. But it looked like Leo had his shots on point in that first game. He's also started well in the second game too. I think he's had that little bit more experience on this glass court.
Some good control there by Conder in the end.
Getting a bit too trigger happy there, Leo.
Yeah. And feel free to send us a message on the PSA YouTube. We're happy to answer it. Just remembering that these are 2 of the better juniors from New Zealand at the moment, and also that no one has picked up a squash racket in anger in a match for 7 or 8 weeks. It was the first match yesterday. So there's a little bit of rawness to every player. We'll see what happens over the next 4 weeks as we play possibly, arguably, the first elite sport in New Zealand, let alone many other places in the world. Yes, there has been some darts, there's been UFC, football this morning in the Bundesliga. Certainly in New Zealand, this is a first, and it's great to have squash around the world, wherever you are. Let's hope it can get back on its feet once every country gets itself stable. You agree with that?
Yeah, I think I do agree with that one.
You kind of have to, because Heather Finlay is not too far away.
Yeah, exactly. I have to be careful what I say there.
Yeah, and she'll be umpiring your match as well, so that
Yeah,
one will
exactly.
be-
Exactly. There hasn't been too many calls though, actually, in this match so far.
Yeah, I think the whole tournament actually, yesterday and today so far, I think everybody, maybe tomorrow or maybe the next week, people are a bit more competitive with each other, but
Yeah.
so far, everybody's been okay. So a message there from Michael in Australia saying they have to wait until June, at least for squash to get underway again in Australia. Good rally here into the corner.
Jack doing a lot of work on this rally.
Fatialofa has been controlling this rally. A lot of coverage by Jack.
A good way to finish the rally there by Leo.
Yeah, controlled it very well.
Yeah, very good rally.
Yes, unfortunately for Australia and New Zealand, the Trans-Tasman Junior competition, well, that has been rescheduled, and a variety of other tournaments having to be cancelled. World Juniors, in fact, as well, so that's really tough for all players, whether it's their first or last year in the World Juniors, just having it cancelled completely, and we really feel for all people in the juniors and for those organising the tournament in Australia as well.
Yeah, it's really gutting.
But meanwhile, back to this particular match, this plate match. Jack Conder playing consistent, or more consistent in this, the second game. You can see the talent there.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's definitely one of the more hungry players on court. Always plays his heart out, gives it everything. Definitely some longer rallies here today, in comparison to yesterday, I think.
Also, warmer conditions were in the afternoon, not the evening. Yesterday evening was quite cool, whereas today is...
There's a lot more, a lot more sunny, yeah, you're right.
We've got the door open.
Yeah, exactly. It's not freezing.
And there we go. I think we have a message there saying that Jack is still 17. He'll turn 18 in December.
Oh, there we go.
Apologies for that, Jack.
It's a great lob there by Jack.
Yeah. Well, let's see what he can do with this. You know, the 3-point advantage, only 2 points away from taking the game. This is where we're really going to see the mental strength of either player.
Yeah, you're right. This is when that experience really starts to kick in the later stage of the game. Good work down the backhand wall here.
Not quite. Got a bit of a grimace with pain. Is he okay?
I think so. He'll walk it off. Tough boy. Leo's starting to show his experience here, I think.
It's those last 2 points. You know you can do it.
Always the hardest to get those last 2 points.
Nice pickup. Oh,
Some great pickups from both parties there.
great play.
Great shot there from Leo. I think that's his favourite shot.
Well, it was almost a fake. You'd call it a fake in basketball because I was expecting it to go down the forehand. I think Jack was as well, but
Yeah.
he just moved it across the court into the
Yeah.
backhand.
Got me with that a couple times last night too.
Nice disguise, good fake.
Yeah, good racket preparation.
Oh,
The tricky one down the middle.
disappointing there for Jack because he was up 9-6 at one
9-6,
stage.
yeah.
But then just let it go. Maybe the wanting and the willingness to try and wrap it up real quick probably didn't help him in the end. So that is one game. Make that 2 games there to Leo Fatialofa over Jack Conder. Back very shortly with the 3rd game of this contest.
What I like is Jack's not hanging off like he usually does. Someone's obviously coached that out of him.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
That's a shocker. Ugly nose. And I watched the news last night. There's a glimpse of Paul Cole on it
Oh yeah, yeah.
because his uncle died.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Well, apparently we're on tomorrow.
I heard it was tonight.
Oh okay. Yeah, I
Oh,
think.
that's what I got told.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure to be honest, but
Yeah.
yeah. Last day was tonight.
I
But
got the
anyway.
tape because I'm grown up now. I watch the news.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Next day.
But COVID-19, I only watched like 10 minutes. Fast forward, fast forward. He's Trump fast forward. No, it's good. He's Jack's not hanging off like he used to because he always used to hang off and it was just appalling. So he's the boys coaching him, are they?
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah. He hasn't done as much as we'd like, but you know.
So it makes a difference. It does.
Yeah, I think so. I think it helps.
15 seconds.
Yeah.
Time.
We're back now for the 3rd game of this, the 2nd plate contest of the UNSQUASHABLE Premier League. It is Leo Fatialofa against Jack Conder, 2 17-year-olds. Fatialofa taking the 1st, and in fact the 2nd as well, in what's been an entertaining contest between these 2 young players, with Conder having the opportunity in the 2nd. He was up 9-6 but dropped that 11-9 in the end. Certainly playing a very good game and forcing Fatialofa to really play his strengths. Oh, not quite. And Chileshe, I've been impressed with Jack the way he's focused, or appeared to have focused a lot more in this match than perhaps the first game yesterday.
Yeah, yeah. I think something Jack does really well is always play the same no matter the scoreline. So he's really good at hanging in even when he's 2 love down. And I think a lot of players sort of tend to give up. Leo catching him out with that middle shot again.
I'll just remind people that we do have the 2 semi-finals coming up this afternoon. And the first semi-final will be Joe Arscott against Elijah Thomas. Both there with pretty good world rankings on the PSA Tour. Elijah still 17. And then Tim, you'll take on Anthony Lepper. That'll be a good one because have you played him that often?
Yeah, we played quite a few times because we were the same age group in juniors. So we've had many battles together, me and Anthony.
And both players looking at the umpire, Heather Finlay. Both wanting different things.
I think I agree with that call there. That was a good call.
Certainly all players enjoying getting on the court. There's been the odd question, but it hasn't really been a question with the determination and the aggression sometimes that some players really give out. There's been a few smiles on court.
Yeah, you do. Just looks like everyone's enjoying being back on the court, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So just a reminder, this is the first time for all of these players they've been able to take on match practice for 7 to 8 weeks in New Zealand. New Zealand now down to level 2 of the lockdown, which means pretty much you can do most things, but not in a big crowd. I think that's the nicest way of putting it.
Yeah, I think it's spot on there.
So for gatherings and sporting events such as this, you can have 10 people in the venue, but no more. With 8 players. Because it is a double-sided or double-storied venue, you can have a few more upstairs, but no spectators. So an unusual thing there that you can't really have coaches or friends or family here to watch.
Yeah. Don't quite have that same atmosphere as you would at a normal tournament.
A nice play.
There it is again, Leo's favourite shot.
He holds the ball very well, doesn't he?
Yeah,
The ball's
yeah.
just held on the racket and gives him the time to figure out where his opponent is and put it in the other corner.
Yeah, he's got great racket preparation and good court awareness as well of what his play's about to do. He can just change at the last minute.
Nice work. So there we go, 7-3 to Fatialofa. Just turned 17 on Wednesday. Whereas Jack Conder, he's 17, will be turning 18 in December. A great opportunity for all of these players to get on the court. They're all young, oldest at 21. And play competition squash on a glass court as well.
Jack did well to keep his frustration in there.
Yeah. Nice work down the backhand side in this rally. Nice running from Conder, staying in the rally.
Oh, and a great shot there by Jack. Showing his touch under pressure there, Jack Conder.
Exactly, it was in the backhand, deep in the backhand corner, and to put it across court like that, dropping low,
Yeah,
good skills.
it's Armour Shabana-like.
I'll come back, and the last 2 points. And we hope you're enjoying the coverage of squash from SquashXL. Just nice to actually get players back on the court. So he's fought very nicely in this, the third game. Jack Conder in the white. Last 3 points.
Rally's starting to get a bit longer at the end of this game.
Yeah.
Game 3.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch because we've got two teams out there really competing.
Yeah. Oh, great shot there by Leo.
Yeah, there we go. Can he take it in 3? Can he take it in straight? And certainly, let's see what he can do on this. Leo Fatialofa, 17-year-old from Henderson Squash Club. Not quite.
Second time lucky, maybe.
Yeah.
Great way to finish there.
Good dedication, but not quite in the end. And a victory in straight games to Leo Fatialofa. And not too far away, and in fact about 10 minutes away, we'll have the first of the semi-finals. Joel Arscott, the 20-year-old with a ranking of 235 in the world, up against a 17-year-old Elijah Thomas with a world ranking of 257. Anything you can expect from that, aside from a lot of long rallies?
A lot of tight squash actually. I think from those two players, both like to really get into a match and not shoot too early. So I think it'll be quite a long one. They've had some lengthy encounters, so it'll be good to see who can bring it home tonight.
All right, well, Temwa, Chileshe, great to have you, and we look forward to your match a little bit later on, and also looking forward to this match coming up in around about 10 minutes' time between Joel Arscott and Elijah Thomas. It should be a good one. Stay tuned, folks, and we'll be back very shortly with that, the semi-final of the first semi-final of this, the Unsquashable Premier League.
me to look at? There was it. Oh, was it the one? Okay. Oh, yeah, no, that's the one Henderson you want. But you said the one I looked when I started. I'm like, shit, that's why I asked for it.
And the thing is, but see, this is the thing, because eventually it's going to catch up. You know,
I'm totally, if you're doing something wrong, but as soon as you go overseas, different Australian referees different, referee different than us. You know, and look, as much as being in my pleasure times, I do listen to him, and I have respect as for his referee.
yeah.
You know, he wouldn't have got really was if he was crap.
No, I mean, you know, this is the thing.
Yeah. Okay. Oh,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't mind. Everyone's at a different level.
Oh, she could have done. I didn't see any of those. I couldn't see. I didn't see it. Yeah.
No, no, yeah. But,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, I don't think we
And that, and that's why Glenn says, that's why we get assessed all the time. And, oh look, I had a crap referee. Look, I've got evenings and I've got season runs before and one that's a 30 second calls, which normally means a fail. But he said, no, your calls are fine. I actually got 95% of them. And he was deciding on two, and then he decided to give me one of those, which is fine, I don't care. But the one I was, like, was amazing. He was only just in there, and he was just like, who was it? It was, yeah, because he's shit to referee. And that's fine, no, look, I argue with him if I don't agree with him, but, you know, so, all those matches I said to him, but look, I know which ones I got wrong, and they were, and I said, totally agree with you.
So do you,
We're all trying to do better.
so
So
that,
Janet's
that's the
been,
goal.
so Janet's obviously been doing a lot of practices because you know, because before I thought she was a shocker, but you know, she's obviously trying. No, I'm not giving you a ball. Like it. Let's just pretend there's a ball on the board.
Just do some ghosting, son.
Let's
8
just-
minutes of ghosting. 20 on, 10
Look,
off.
you've got time for
Surely.
you've got time for a haircut.
At least your dad has had time for a haircut. No, I did it for him.
But I'll do it, I won't even charge. I'm being weird.
Sir? Yeah, it's 4:22, isn't it? What time is it?
It's 4:22, yeah.
Oh, no.
It's all right. Sorry, I did your job after the first game. I just... I cleaned the door. I hope I wasn't stepping on your toes.
Giorgio's been looking after things.
What is it? It's 4:30, isn't it supposed to start?
Yeah. this one is going to be fast here for sure.
This one's going to be.
Yeah, exactly. It is what it is. It's all entertaining.
So who did the women's Brooklyn Open? Was it Nathan? No, I couldn't remember. Oh, it might have been
Yeah, hey.
I know that the Shiraz, I'm sure one day I was just, you know, on those days you can't really right.
Well, welcome into the first of the semi-finals here on the Unsquashable Premier League at SquashXL in Auckland. And our two players on court in the black is Joel Arscott. He is ranked 235 in the world. And in the white, it is Elijah Thomas. He's at 257 in the world. Elijah Thomas there, he is just 17. And Joel Arscott is 20 years old. In fact, he actually lives here at the centre at the moment, along with Temwa Chileshe. They've made their base here and been pretty useful for training, but it all comes down to match practice, doesn't it? And match experience. And joining me now for some comments and a few thoughts, Leo Fatialofa. And Leo, great to have you with me, and you've just really come off the court.
Yeah, yeah. I just it was a tough match. You know, Jack. He's really fast around the court, and you know, I couldn't take him easy. You know, so I just had to try and control the rallies, and yeah, it paid off. So it's good.
Has it been good to be back on the court and play competitive matches?
Yeah, it's a bit hard because you know, that 8-week break, not hitting the ball. I was a bit rusty, especially yesterday in my match. But I guess everyone felt that. So yeah.
Well, it was pretty cold last night, wasn't it? You know, I mean, I know it's, you know, getting towards winter in Auckland, but compared to when you would have last played, which was almost summertime in New Zealand, and now you get the cold of last night through to today's a lot warmer, isn't it?
Yeah. Last night was the court was pretty dead. You know, just died, especially around the front with the drops and the bursts. So yeah, today was a lot bouncier.
And against someone like Jack Conder, who is very determined on court. I'm sure you've played him a few times, or at least
Yeah.
seen him play. Very determined, but sometimes a little bit unorthodox. So you've really got to focus, don't you, to beat him?
Yeah, he's real, like, plays a bit unorthodox. Yeah, you're right. But you just need to really structure it and just make him move or make anyone move. Just focus on controlling the rallies with anyone, and yeah, just.
But you've enjoyed it so far in your 2 matches. You had one loss yesterday, but a win today. It's been good to get out there.
Yeah, it was good. The second match was a lot better. So yeah, looking forward to my next match tomorrow against Michael.
Yeah, so in the corner there. And in these two particular players, you're going to see some long rallies, aren't we?
Yeah, we are both grinders, especially Elijah. Yeah, he loves it, you know. Just loves running and just getting all the balls back. He's pretty quick too.
And just to let you know, Leo, that Shah Roberts has said hello. I'm not sure if you know Shah Roberts, but they have said hello to you.
Oh, hey cuz. Yeah, that's it's my cousin from Aussie.
Okay, great
Yeah.
stuff. You come from a big support group yourself, don't you? There's a lot of your, I guess, relatives who play the sport.
Yeah, I got my brother who plays upper, and Mason who also plays, and Maya, my niece. Yeah, they're all squashies and topping their ranks with their age groups. So yeah, pretty lucky to have that. It's pretty cool.
And already into the long rallies. Oh, nice one.
Really efficient with their movement.
Yeah. Both good movers.
Yeah, just
That.
I'm liking the all white from Elijah. The white shirt, white shorts, white socks. That's what I wore yesterday. It's pretty cool. And the white headband. It's all about style.
Yeah, the Finlay just saying when you're ready. And good to have viewers from around the world. Hope you're enjoying some squash for the first time. We had the first round yesterday, and this is the semi-finals here, and tomorrow the finals as well.
Good attacking from Joel.
Yeah, exactly. See what he can do here. Both players taking their time in this rally, not rushing.
Yeah, just being real patient, waiting for the opportunity. Oh, nice finish from Thomas.
Yeah, that was very patient. And I guess that's where, as a younger player, I mean, well, Elijah's not that much older than you, you really have to have patience.
Yeah, ones who are patient, you know, they'll just wait for the right opportunity to put it away. Yeah, and that's what I really need to work on as well. Sometimes I just go for it a lot, but you know, I like going for my shots. Like
Nothing wrong with that.
Unforced error from Joel.
What we saw in your particular match, Leo, was a few rallies down the backhand side where Jack kept you in that corner for quite a while. There was a couple of long rallies.
Yeah, it was good. I just had to just control it down the back, you know, giving myself time to get back to the tee, so I can look for the volley on the next shot to try and execute that one. So going down the back, I was really just defending and giving myself more time. So yeah, that was my game plan. Otherwise, just mixing it up with the cross and then the burst, and I'm just trying to move him.
Oh, what are you calling there?
Let. Yeah. The ball was pretty tight, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, Joel didn't really clear it, but it's hard to clear the ball from his position because, yeah, he's just stuck.
There really hasn't been many calls to the umpire until we get to this really competitive matches, isn't it?
Yeah. Lift. Nice and tight.
Yeah. That's good play.
Just resetting.
Oh, that's tight in the corner. Well
Yeah.
worked away again by Elijah Thomas.
Very efficient with their movement. Very efficient.
Oh, good play. How do you react when you play a long rally like that and then you just after 30, 40 shots and then you're like, oh, I let it go.
Yeah, it's a bit disappointing losing a 50-shot rally. You don't want to lose those rallies, eh? You want to win because kind of give you a bit of confidence. And if you lose those rallies, you just need to, don't show your opponent weakness. Just keep your head up and hopefully don't tell them that you're tired. So you just got to stay strong throughout the whole match, I guess.
I look at someone like Paul Cole who can play such a long rally against some of the Egyptian players, and I think, gee, whether you've won or lost, it must be so difficult to get your mind focused on the next point because you just played 60-shot rally or whatever.
Paul's a beast. He just can go all day, It's, he just lives and trains like that, Just loves it. He can break them down just by running them into the ground,
Yeah.
That's one of his strengths. So I don't think those Egyptians like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Just caught Joel off guard.
Well, we expected a tight contest, and it really is what we expected. No one's
Yes.
really giving an inch. No one's throwing away points, are they?
It's very close, very tight.
Nice.
Oh, beautiful. It's like an Al-Shabagi kill shot. Ooh, unforced error.
One of the very few. Just to let people know that these two players both have a PSA World Rankings, 235 there for the man in black, that is Joel Arscott, and in the white, 257 for Elijah Thomas. Elijah Thomas, 17, and Joel Arscott, 20 years old. This whole tournament is focused on some of the best domestic players in New Zealand getting out there and playing matches after 7 or 8 weeks away, and good play there by Joel Arscott. And certainly Leo Fatialofa very tight. Only a few unforced errors so far.
Yeah, not too bad. Just, you need to make sure they don't, just like that one, Now it's 8-all. You don't want to make those crucial errors at those times. Nice and tight.
Yeah. Nice variety of play.
Oh,
Yeah,
beautiful.
well,
That was a nice hold trickle burst from Elijah.
Well, that's what I'd say about your game. There was a number of occasions where you were able to hold the ball on your racket
Yeah.
very well to disguise which way you're going.
Yeah, that's. I don't like being that guy that just rallies, hits the ball down the wall and just tries to grind it out. I'd like to go for my shots and just try and express myself, and hopefully it pays off. You don't want to hit it back to yourself, eh? Otherwise you look like an egg.
Yeah, indeed. Nice recovery. Oh,
Trickle burst. That's a double shot right there.
well, yeah.
Yeah.
Great angle.
Caught everyone off guard.
Very difficult to do anything against a shot like that.
Yeah, it's really unexpected those shots. That's a winning shot. That was too good. Pretty intense set.
Yeah.
Joel doesn't look too happy.
Yeah, exactly.
I think he should just rest now. Instead of
Yeah,
talking
you're not
back
going to
the
get
ref.
anything back on that, are you?
Yeah,
Certainly
call's a call.
what was impressive was the way in those last few points, Elijah Thomas just really upped the tempo.
Yes, he just upped the tempo, like you said. It's taking it a lot more early and getting a few more shots and being more accurate around the front, and just putting Joe under a lot more pressure.
All right, well, the second game of this first semi-final about to get underway in just around about a minute's time. We'll come back with that very shortly. Back with the second game of this, the first semi-final, the UNSQUASHABLE Premier League here at SquashXL in Auckland. And these two players, Joel Arscott in the black and in the white, Elijah Thomas. And joining me, Leo Fatialofa, who was just on the court, well, not so long ago actually. And Leo, we've got what we expect, a drawn out but very entertaining contest between those two players.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a tight match. Could go to 5, could go to 4, you don't know. Just depends how, I think, who wants it more, Who's going to stay in the rallies and make the right choices on court. So, yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, the first game going to Elijah Thomas, 11-9, in around about 10 minutes. And let's just see what develops in the second. in. Some good touch.
Yeah, tried to be flick Elijah. Doesn't really go well when you don't do it properly. Yeah.
Exactly.
You gotta be subtle with it.
What we saw in the first game was plenty of touch, good touch, particularly from Elijah Thomas.
Yeah.
Some from Joel Arscott as well.
Looks a bit messy in this set.
Yeah.
Going for it a bit more.
And just a welcome to everybody around the world who is tuned in on PSA Squash TV on the YouTube channel. We realise that in some parts of the world it is very early in the morning. In New Zealand, well, it's about 10 to 5 p.m. on a Saturday.
Yeah, that's a stroke. Joe looks angry. He should just play on.
So the official here is Heather Finlay. She hasn't had to deal with too many questions so far. This is a semi-final match, so both players wanting to win.
Yeah.
No PSA points, but prize money. And that will always help because all of the players here you haven't really been able to earn a living for some of them. I mean, you're still at school, so it's not so bad.
Oh, yeah. It'd be cool to earn some pocket money if I could.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mind you, I'd probably just spend it once I get it. I'm not really good at saving.
Your time will come. Oh,
Cool.
well played. A little bit unorthodox that shot, but effective.
Yeah.
And I guess a little bit disappointing for you, Leo, that the Trans-Tasman competition plus the World Juniors cancelled, and the Trans-Tasman competition should be on later in the year, maybe. But that's going to be pretty tough, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty hard to get the motivation. And, when you have to train for 8 weeks because you're not really training for anything. Until like December or later on in the year. So you just need to keep yourself motivated and just keep training hard.
Well, it's also your last year at school, so I guess you have some focus there as well. Year 13 for you at Auckland Grammar. You're looking forward to getting back to school on Monday?
I can't say no. So I actually kind of miss school for some reason.
In a couple of weeks you won't be saying that, will you?
I want to get back to school and so I can learn properly because that's been teaching myself at home. I'm not really good at doing that. I need the teacher to be there to tell me what to do, or just to get help.
Any particular subjects you like more than anything else?
I enjoy economics. I like that subject. It's, just because I just like the economy and how the business works and the government. Yeah, I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got his fishing rod out.
Yeah.
Cheeky, very cheeky.
Yeah.
Got a smirk on his face. Oh,
Nice.
oh, down the middle.
Oh.
Reverse post. They love taking their space. It's good. Showing that presence on court.
Well, there's a little bit of, I'll call it gamesmanship, but the players know how to move and know how to...
Ooh. That was a nice shot from Joel.
Yeah.
Good hold, B flick. L-Bay special.
Well, that's the thing. These two guys do know how to move around the court, know how to try and influence the umpire, try and influence the referee.
Nice power from Joel on the back end.
Yeah, the tempo just picked up again. Oh no, I slowed it down.
Wait for it. Oh,
So Joel Arscott here has an opportunity. 9-4 up. He dropped the first, albeit 11-9.
Ooh, tasty neck on the forehand by Thomas.
How difficult is a shot like that? Is it just you know how to do it and it just happens naturally, or do you plan it?
You gotta. I love going for the neck, say, off the serve, especially if it's there.
Yeah.
If it's there, just I probably wouldn't do it if it was 10-all or 10-9.
Right.
But if I was up quite a lot, if the opportunity was there and I knew how to do it, then I'd just go for it. GT triple boost.
Well, there you go. That second game there going to Joel Arscott. Another close one in the end with Elijah Thomas coming back a little bit with a couple of audacious shots. And Leo Fatialofa, my sideline man, my commentator here. That was quite an enjoyable little episode there with the players questioning a few calls, but certainly some good entertaining shots again.
Yeah, looks like the pace is picking up. Can't wait to see what this next set will be like. So, looking forward to it.
And Joe Smythe, you know him reasonably well.
Joe Smythe, yeah. Summer boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Great to have you with us, Joe. And I hope everybody else is enjoying the play so far. This is the first semi-final of the Unsquashable Premier League. We do have the second semi coming up. That is Temwa Chileshe up against Anthony Lepper. That'll come on at the end of this match. And so far, 1-1 between these two players. It is Joel Arscott and Elijah Thomas. So back in just a moment with the third game between these two players. And returning now for the third game between these two players. In the black, it is Joel Arscott, and in the white, it is Elijah Thomas. One game each. The first going to Elijah Thomas, 11-9. The second going to Joel Arscott.
Very intense rally. First rally.
Yeah, and Leo Fatialofa joining me as we well, an interesting match. We expected a long contest, and I think we could be going that way, couldn't we?
Yeah, looks like it's going to be a 5-setter. Both players have upped the tempo, especially Joel. He loves the tee, man.
So don't forget, you can send us a message and say hello to both Leo and myself, or anybody else watching this stream as well. And hopefully you're enjoying seeing live squash here with the Unsquashable Premier League. Tournaments over the next 4 weeks, and fortunate that New Zealand has got itself to a stage that it can actually stage some sporting events, albeit without crowds. Right, well, this is the first of the semi-finals, as we said, and the second semi-final will be Temwa Chileshe up against Anthony Lepper. So far in this one, no one is indicating to me, Leo, that they're going to take it. It's still, as we expect,
50-50.
anybody's game.
Yeah. Unforced error. Ooh.
It's great to see.
Ooh. Joe loves the hold volley drive. Oh, bit of conflict right here. Joe laughing.
and the call from the organiser replay. I don't know if we can.
Nice hold from Joel. Uh-oh.
Leo, a bit of a request there from Noah Thomas so they want to shout out.
So, shout out to Noah Thomas, he's the man making all those TikToks. Let's go. Yeah, that's Elijah's brother. Yeah. I'll see you at school on Monday, bro.
There you go.
Make sure your socks are up and your shirt's tucked in. Grab my way.
Oh, there you go. In the meantime, on the court, no TikTok. It is squash, and it is Joel Arscott looking pretty good in this, the third game. Of course, scores 1-all. And let's just see. He's got a decent lead as well.
Yeah.
Nice touch. That's good, that's good. Come on the turn.
Nice. Getting hold of that tee.
Changing the pace again. Using the lob effectively.
Slowing it down, yeah. Giving himself some time. Oh, right back at himself.
So both of these players do have fairly handy PSA rankings, considering that Elijah Thomas is just 17 and Joe Arscott is 20. Unfortunately, a number of PSA satellites and challenges have been cancelled or postponed, but at least this gives competition for people like you as well. It gives you tournament play over the next 4 weeks, doesn't it?
Yeah. We need match play, especially because of the COVID-19, you know. So yeah, this is a good opportunity to a lot of matches under our belt before some other events that may arise in the coming months. Yeah.
Well, hopefully around New Zealand and Australia there becomes a travel bubble which may help.
Yeah, there'll be some.
Yeah, by August perhaps we may be able to stage something. Maybe not sooner, maybe July.
Nice and tight.
Oh, just tried too much perhaps.
Yeah, lifted it too late I thought, but I thought that was the right shot, but just had to go up. No, you were blocking Joel. You were blocking him. No access to the ball.
He's still got the 3-point buffer, but no point really getting annoyed with himself. Well, maybe annoyed with that one actually. You can get annoyed without.
just ruins your game.
And this is the problem with Elijah Thomas. He's just gained a couple of points, and he's not going to throw them away.
Yeah, he's got a good lead now. Oh, that's a lift. That is a lift. Shout out to Sid Mills from, he's my brother-in-law. Yeah, and shout out to Henderson Squash Club.
I think Henderson Squash Club is all related to you.
Yep, it's my home. That's where it's at. The hood. Ooh.
Great rally.
Try to do a B flick. Oh, nice volley.
Oh,
Ooh,
touch.
Quick reaction.
Oh.
Very good from Joel.
So there's another tight game between these two. I think 3-point buffer was pretty much what we had as the biggest. You really have to work for every point in this one, isn't it?
Yes.
No one's making it through.
It's really crucial. Doesn't matter if you're 10-8 up game ball or, you know, even when it's 7-6 or 6-all.
Oh, tight down the side.
Oh, that's very tight. That is so tight. Ooh. Wish we had video referee. That would have helped.
Yeah, I think the players have got to understand that the official is seeing it as you're seeing it as well, and it's hard to call.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on the referee, but just all they need to do is just see as cool as they see it. Good retrieving from Thomas. He's a bit unlucky.
There we go. Oh, just held it nicely and flicked it off on that forehand.
That was very nice. Just above the 10-2.
Yeah.
Nice hold flick on the forehand. Oh. Joe going for it.
Right.
Oh.
Oh, you got it. You got it. Great recovery, but it's going to be tough.
Oh, Joe's sprinting. Oh, no leads. That was a shock.
It's hard to call on that one.
Yeah.
I think either way you went there, you could feel aggrieved either way, couldn't you?
I think everyone's got their opinions on that goal too, you know?
Yeah.
But, it's a nice drop. Ooh, it stayed in. Nice lob from Joel.
Yeah.
Ooh, good shot out. Hold, volley drive again.
Oh, just as.
This is a huge rally. Ooh.
I mean, it's,
What a rally.
yeah, it was tight. There's a good use of the lob in there as well, and a couple of shots just staying under the line. And I think Arpa wants a shout out there, Leo.
Oh, who wants a shout out?
A
Oh,
relative of yours.
oh yeah. Shout out to my brother Upper. Oh, what a sad guy not coming to watch me play. Just stayed at home. Oh, all good. Yeah.
Well, good on you for getting out there and playing 2 matches so far. You've got a third one tomorrow. And also for helping out with commentary as well. Oh, great. Oh, not quite.
larger asking for a lead there.
Yep. Another great game there, and a lot of athleticism from both players. So that is Joel Arscott taking the third game, 11-9. We'll be back very shortly with the fourth game of this, the first semi-final of the Unsquashable Premier League. Back for the fourth game. It is Joel Arscott leading by 2-1 at the present time over Elijah Thomas, both players with PSA rankings. Joel Arscott, age 20, and Elijah Thomas, 17. Another 17-year-old who's with me is Leo Fatialofa. And Leo, this particular match, it's so tight.
Yeah.
Hardly a point in it. And we now have Joel Arscott in the black. Ooh. Elijah Thomas has changed to a blue shirt and white shorts.
They've really upped the tempo in this set. Nice cue.
Straight away, a top rally. I mean, it's a lengthy
Exactly.
rally, but plenty of variety as well. Using that backhand corner. That was all just for 1 point. Whew, a lot of work there. So people have been asking about the door and who is meant to open the door. And, yeah, there is a system to that. Of course, we've got to keep everything as clean and as hygienic as we can. We are still at level 2 here in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And there are certain rules around that. But squash clubs are able to open as long as they adhere to certain health rules.
Shout out to my two polos who's watching from Sid's work. So, yeah.
It's good you've got a lot of supporters from Australia, from all sorts of different places as well. It's good to see them watch the squash.
I'll also shout out to my friend Ethan Vizekali. I'll see you tomorrow. See you on Monday at school.
Well, I think, Leo, if you can get all your friends here to actually start playing squash, I reckon we'd have the biggest sport in New Zealand.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Just, getting squash out there.
Yeah, well, that's where John Duggan over here has done a great job of putting squash on the TV,
Exactly.
online,
Yeah.
and having a glass court. Some of you love playing on a glass court. I mean, it's great to be on have this
Oh,
facility,
yeah,
right?
it's pretty sick. You know, this is the first permanent glass court in New Zealand, I think. So, you know, you don't get this anywhere in New Zealand. It's pretty sick. Yeah, and also a gym to train and 3 more courts. It's an unreal venue.
So yes, as we have mentioned, there are limits to gatherings or sporting events. The Super Rugby Aotearoa, as it will be called, will get underway
Yeah,
next
I can't
month.
wait for that. It's
Yeah,
gonna
that'll be
be
good to have different sport.
Go the Blues.
Albeit with no spectators. And also the same goes with the netball competition as well. No spectators here, just the competitors and just a couple of other people. It's unusual, isn't it, when you've got no one here? Do you feel that when you're out on the court?
Oh yeah, like I try not to think about it. You know, you just play. And, not really. Whoever's watching's watching, but you just need to focus on what you're doing at the moment. And yeah. Joe's got another lead on Elijah.
Yeah,
he's gonna
he's
have
got
to pick himself up.
3-point lead on this one, 3-point buffer. Let's see what he can do here. I don't think he's done anything exceptionally different in this game compared to the others. Perhaps a couple of unforced errors, a little bit of impatience from
Joe's
Elijah.
just taking it a lot more early and upping the tempo. You know. Yeah. Elijah's good at coming back though, you know. Just fights to the end.
And tell me something, Leo, have you ever played at the Cuddy Squash Club where Glenn Templeton comes from?
I think one time when I went to his house, this was like I think 4 years ago. I went to the club, but I don't think I played on the courts. I just went to the club. But yeah, I've only been there once.
I think he spends a lot of time at the Cuddy Squash Club like you do at the Henderson Squash Club.
Oh yeah,
I think all of
basically
you
every
guys
day.
all spend so much time at squash clubs.
Yeah. If it's not home or school, it's just the squash club.
Look at this rally just dropping in that corner.
So tight.
Again.
It's very hard to see. Tight squeeze
Gee,
from
that's
police.
really squeezing the corner. Nice control.
Good finish. Oh, and she went for the let.
No, you
I
don't
just
get a
saying the video replay.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Elijah.
Unlike yours.
We can actually see on another
Unlucky.
screen that we've got, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. Bit unfortunate for Elijah, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. They're both working so hard.
Yeah. 7-1.
Yeah. Players are feeling,
Ooh. It's a bit unlucky.
yeah, just needs to refocus, get himself back in the match. He's had his little discussion with the official and now just refocus. So we do welcome all people from around the country and around the world watching live squash. That is live squash, folks. Nice to have you with us, and great to have Leo Fatialofa, who played his match earlier today. Ooh.
What a fluke from Elijah.
Let's see what Elijah Thomas can do now to really get himself back in this game.
I think he's just going to grind. Just going to run and run and run. Oh, that was nice. Ooh.
Ah,
It was tight from Joel.
yeah. Yeah, there's been, they've really worked that backhand wall and made it so close there. Really worked it hard. Nice.
Triple burst.
10-2 this fourth game. Arscott has really taken advantage. And certainly the result he may go through to tomorrow's final. In fact, he does. There we go. That is Joel Arscott through, defeating Elijah Thomas in 4 games. 11-2 there. Congratulations there to Joel on his home court as such, making it through the final. And Leo Fatialofa, I guess summing up that match, how would you sum up that fourth game there? It was a blowout score in many ways.
I think just Elijah made a lot of unforced errors and more than Joel. So Joel had a really good lead, and that's what I think. Elijah just made a lot of errors in that last game, which cost them the match. So it was a bit unfortunate for him, but good on Joel.
All right, well, Leo, appreciate your time. Been great to have you here. Just 17 only a couple of days ago.
Yeah, thanks.
And we'll see you in your match tomorrow. You're going to be playing against, was it Michael?
Michael.
Michael Shelton-Agar, and that'll be interesting because he's a little bit unorthodox on some shots. So just tell me what you're expecting.
I'm expecting him to go for some nicks, for top spins and B flicks. What else? Some boast in the nick, maybe. I know he loves his shots too, but rummy-like.
Yeah, exactly. I will give it a good go tomorrow, and great to have you, and thank you very much for your time. We look forward to the second semi-finals, Temwa Chileshe against Anthony Lepper, in just a few minutes' time.
Yeah.
So that's what we were talking about. We were talking about, whilst we're moving on,
So one earlier on, which I played a let you go, it was a little round, and I thought, probably that should have been a straight, but I was going to play a little on that anyway.
I thought definitely that was a straight
Yeah,
pass.
yeah. I was he still thinking about that.
I thought it was straight, but that was
And
very
that's
different.
the trouble, because I was still thinking about that when he called.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the problem is that it doesn't matter what the call is. When they hit those squeezing shots,
Yeah.
they hit the sidewall on the up, and then they spin and slide.
Yeah.
If you're not right on the sidewall, it can be difficult.
Yeah, and that was it. I was still thinking about that when he asked, so I was thinking, oh, well, I felt saying to you, it doesn't matter what call, he's going to play on that one anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So all right, business.
That's all right.
Negative calls in that
No, don't worry about it. Yeah.
Now,
They're so close, like it's just 50-50, It's hard to see where you are as well.
I know, and it's like the sliding. One time we went over and he's on his cell phone. I'm like, oh shit.
Chewy's obviously championing a bit.
Yeah.
He's been messaging, so he's obviously keen for a
This
call.
again. Thank you. And how many hits you got?
Tight work. Good finish in that. I mean, obviously you're breaking down to two. Easy to shoot. Yeah.
It's probably on the other side. Even not even 9, 11, 5. there, Lepper. If I'd given you a strike and then replayed it, you would have. I can. And then I played it in the ball out. If I'd given you a strike and played it there, you would have smashed done it.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
That's right, it's fine. It's just like, I know I did that one wrong, but it's like I had to do that bit out there because I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And I was still thinking about that ball. It's alright. Life goes on. I know you're fine. Even any day.
The blood goes to your legs, not your head. When you're on court.
I'd rather have you than even any day.
Yeah. Good point.
Half time.
He's missed you like crazy. He's definitely up and ready to go. He watched you. He's fine now because super keen. What's the time of that? 2 minutes.
And welcome back to this, the final semi-final. It is the second semi-final, in fact, of this, the Unsquashable Premier League here at SquashXL in Auckland. It is the first elite sport to get underway in New Zealand, and we've got 8 players, all young players, all domestic players around New Zealand, the majority who have PSA rankings, and this particular match is Temwa Chileshe up against Anthony Lepper, about to get underway with this contest. And we have both players 19 years old. Lepper, well, he is 256, I believe, in the world. Yes, that's right, the rankings. Temwa Chileshe 339, or thereabouts as well. And joining me, Joel Arscott. Joel, you've just come up the court yourself, had a 4-game win over Elijah Thomas. How are you feeling after that game? It was a bit of a battle for those first 3 in particular.
Yeah, I mean, he's always a pretty gritty player, hard to turn over. You know, definitely known as a classic sort of grinder, that Nick Matthew kind of style, likes to take the ball early, runs everything down. So yeah, no, it's never easy against him, but just trying to hold my level and get my length the whole way through, and yeah, feeling better after yesterday as well, as I'm sure, well, most of the boys are, you know, blowing out those cobwebs. So an enjoyable performance, yeah.
And what's changed for you from round 1 yesterday to the second round here today? What's changed for you in your game, your approach? Has anything changed?
Not massively. I mean, you know, we've played a lot of matches. These boys, been fortunate enough to have a lot of satellites, and you know, played a lot of PSAs for people of our age. So not a huge amount has changed. Maybe just a few more nerves, but I think that's pretty well out of the way yesterday. So not a huge amount has changed. Just trying to keep that professionalism and enjoy the squash.
And what about in this particular match, Anthony Lepper against Temwa Chileshe?
Yeah.
Anything in particular you're expecting?
I mean, these boys had a big 5-setter Auckland Open, which was the 6K we had earlier in the year, pre-lockdown, and yeah, they had a really good battle there. Temwa coming out the victor in that, but very, very physical match. Wasn't on this glass court, being on a traditional court, so expecting a few different things, and that throws the cat amongst the pigeons, being on the glass court. So who knows what to expect? I'm expecting some hard-fought squash nonetheless, for sure.
Oh, nice play. Do you adjust your game to any great length when you go from a traditional court through to a glass court like this particular one?
It's definitely harder finding length on this court. It's a very tempting court in the fact that it stays very short, and it's quite rewarding for a good cut on the ball, as you see with that kind of shot there. So it can favour certain players, and it's a lot more dynamic. You got to go stretch out a lot further. Also the lights as well. It's something not many people really talk about. But if you've never been on a glass court, you stick on it that first time, someone lobs it up. I mean, it's like playing cross-eyed. It's really hard to see. So yeah.
And you can see Anthony Lepper went to wipe his hand on the wall.
Just apologising.
There are certain rules in all sports around New Zealand that have been able to get back and play. Squash being the first. There are a number of regulations, health regulations, government regulations, which you have to adhere to. And as Anthony Lepper went to do to wipe his hand, no. That is one of them.
Bad habits.
Yeah. There are rulings on how many people can be in this venue at the present time. Also on wiping down as well, the door, and the players' hygiene as well. So plenty of rules and regulations. And Anthony Lepper got a decent lead in this, the first game so far. It's going to take a little bit for Tim to come back. He's really going to have to settle down, or does he let this first game go? I know you shouldn't say that, but
yeah, it's not unknown to toss a game, as lack of a better term, but yeah, sometimes different tactics can work for different people. But you know, Tim's not one of those guys. He's really stubborn, just like his brother Louis, which we know. So no, he's won't be looking to give it away too easy. Probably just trying to get as much out of it as he can right now, being this far down.
So yes, folks, this is live squash. It is the first elite sport to get underway in New Zealand. The lockdown only completed on Thursday morning. And these players, the majority with PSA world rankings. Great experience. 4 tournaments coming up over the next few weeks. This is the first of 4. And pretty much within 2 days, we're able to get this underway. So well done to the organisers, John Duggan and SquashXL. And to all the players for making themselves available and really wanting to get on court again as well. So live squash brought to you here around the world. Great if you can watch it and enjoy. Certainly both players using the width of the court, but a nice little couple of drops there.
Certainly all the boys look a lot more comfortable today, not just physically but also shot play. Sort of their arms sort of loosened up and their legs got a bit of blood back in.
Well, he's managed to get a few points back here, Tim.
It's a bit flat-footed at the start.
Yeah. I think it's 4 points he's managed to gain back. Still down considerable margin though.
It's a funny game like that, you know, momentum can just shift like very quickly on the squash court. Good counter there though.
Yeah.
6'10", he's still got a nice buffer, but you know, 7 or 8's always
Yeah.
a whole
puts a
different
bit more
ball game,
pressure
isn't
on.
it? Great shot. Tim's been practicing that shot a lot, trying to mimic his favourite player, Gawad, as he'll tell you.
Even if Tim does lose this first game, at least he's reminded Anthony Lepper that, hey,
Exactly.
I don't give up.
Exactly, and that's the number one thing. It's a very mental game, and the last thing you want to do at this level is be taken lightly. And here we see a big momentum shift.
Yeah.
8-10 now.
So that's 7 in a row, 7 points in a row there to Temwa Chileshe.
He did this yesterday as well, didn't he?
Yeah,
Against
he
Leo.
did.
It was
Yeah, there
like
was one
9-2
particular
down or
match.
something like that, yeah. Good squash there, fast hands. Don't know how he actually got the post in.
No.
He popped back up and chest height, just managed to flick it around.
Don't think he goes to wipe his hands again.
Seeing
Both grinning
the
about it.
humour, which is a good thing.
Old habits die hard.
Big point though.
Oh. Jeepers.
Just getting the width.
Wow. There you
Good
go.
to see though from Temwa coming back.
Yeah. He definitely came back on that one and really forced a bit of pressure on Anthony Lepper, but in the end, Lepper taking that first one, 11-9, and this the second semi-final of the Unsquashable Premier League in Auckland. Back in just a moment. back underway with the second semi-final, and it is the start of the second game. The first game going the way of Anthony Lepper, 11-9 after a big comeback there from Temwa Chileshe. Not quite enough though. Oh, gee,
Great shot.
And Joel Arscott. It was an interesting first game because Anthony Lepper had such a big lead. It was 5, 6, 7 points almost.
Yeah.
And Temwa showing some good ability to come back and then start putting some pressure on Anthony Lepper.
It almost can work in the opposite way when you have such a big lead. You almost relax too much, and then whereas you actually need to keep pressure on yourself. Otherwise, as you can see, your opponent can get a momentum shift, and 7 or 8 points later, you go, holy crap,
Yeah, it's amazing what having a big lead can do to someone.
Yeah.
How people say it relaxes your mind. It just makes you. You don't look relaxed, but it perhaps makes you change your game plan slightly.
Just that sense of urgency, really, isn't it?
I suppose.
There's a whole bunch of sayings for it, isn't it? But
Yeah.
it's not over till it's over, regardless of whatever lead you have, Just go until the whistle, they say, or until you hear the referee.
So Chileshe up 4-1 in this, the second game. Ooh, that's tight.
Great shot.
So if you're listening and watching from anywhere around the world, let us know. Feel free to message. And this is, of course, live squash. All adhering to the government regulations, health regulations as well. And these players, both with PSA rankings, both 19 years old. A number of New Zealand's top domestic players here, all youngsters, the oldest 21 and the youngest 17. So feel free to come through and let us know that you're watching. And we hope you're enjoying seeing live sport again.
Anthony really whipping in that straight kill on the backhand, Just the way he gets his racket head around the ball it just works so well on this court. Ooh. Really cutting that ball off well around the middle and finding a lot of quick points on that, just in front of the tee on the backhand.
Well, we do have someone watching from Luxembourg and Central Europe, so welcome Luxembourg.
Wow.
Great to have you.
Is it the morning over there or night? Or?
No, it's definitely morning. Around about 2 hours ahead of New Zealand, so it should be around about, let's have a look, 7:48 in the morning. It's getting close to 6 p.m. here.
Yep. See, as you mentioned, the sun coming down a little bit more, so that front right corner is a little bit darker.
And hopefully for Europe, every nation is hopefully recovering from the coronavirus, or at least got the plans. What we're noticing in this, Joel, is that Anthony Lepper really trying to take the ball as early as possible, almost a drop shots in many ways. And the ball's hardly bouncing, and he's onto it.
Yeah, definitely noticeably faster pace than yesterday. These boys loving to take the ball early around, especially on the backhand from both of them, really. Tim were more known for his forehand, in my opinion, but not switching it too well, and Anthony sort of getting the better of him at the moment. It is getting a little bit later though, so expecting the ball to drop off a little bit more than what it has in the last few matches earlier. or soften up, as we say.
And the sun is apparently shining in Luxembourg, so that's great news.
Great to hear.
Nice touch. Good coverage though.
Neither of these boys really finding their length at the moment in this game, I feel. Spraying a few around the front, and wow.
Also from the United States, thank you for tuning in. There'll be more squash tomorrow as well, with the final and also the plate final. So a couple more matches to watch as well. And in the next 3 days, oh, look at that.
Top spin. Very hard to spot.
Yeah.
These two definitely showing their talents at the front of the court in this game.
And now the rally down the backhand side, jamming it in. Good work. Oh, there we go. Anthony Lepper taking the second game as well. And some good rallies, good shots. A few that perhaps you might not necessarily coach, but they're going forward on the ball one. That's something to be commended as well. And Joel Arscott, what do you think about that second game? Anthony just almost a bit too quick or onto the ball really, really quickly.
One thing I noticed, particularly his front backhand, taking the ball a lot earlier, but also his boast.
Yeah.
I think he, especially on a glass court, when someone whips in a low, hard boast, it's so far up the court, and it's that jolting movement, isn't it? So he was definitely whipping it in, getting the ball, just dying away from Temwa, and neither of them really finding too much length, but nonetheless, Lepper definitely getting the better in the front of the court.
Well, that's right, yeah. There may be not the shots in the back corners, but certainly it seems the plan for both players is to just get that ball in front of you whenever and wherever you can, and take it from there to put the pressure on the other opposition to make them return the shot as quick as possible. All right, so that will be the third game coming up in just a moment. And now back in for this, the third game of the second semi-final. It is Anthony Lepper against Temwa Chileshe. And New Zealand in level 2, as it's called in this country, which means that sport can proceed. Certain rules and regulations, and no big crowds as well. And squash is allowed to be played by government regulations. So New Zealand has moved ahead in that sense and is able to play squash. The majority of clubs around the country have reopened to a certain extent, just not allowed to have bars open or things like that. And certainly around Auckland, it's been very busy today. If you're in a shopping mall, well, you probably wish you weren't. And Joel Arscott, a win for you in your semi, but this semi's a bit strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a anticlimax so far. Yeah, both the boys, I feel, not really finding their corners right now. This rally, a bit more open, but just not really building rallies, I feel.
Can you coach that shot that Anthony Lepper just did with his back to the
Short answer, no. Definitely not. Pure improvisation.
I don't know what you do with that. Came off
He
though.
almost did a 360. He did a 360 in that rally, didn't he? Yes.
It came off. But,
I think Tim was looking to, find the length earlier in this game and try and dig into Anthony. He won't be happy with being 2-love down in 20 minutes.
yeah, it's been relatively short time. The first game had some longer rallies. Second one was a lot of spontaneous shots, as we could maybe call them. You've got Temwa, Chileshe there in the red shirt, Anthony Lepper in the black shirt. They're 19 years old.
Sporadic squash so far and a few unforced errors creeping in in both parties at times.
So you're going to have to play one of these two in the final tomorrow.
Yeah.
I don't know which one you'd want to play, because Temwa, you played so often, you must be getting bored hitting against him.
Yeah, this is true.
And Anthony Lepper, you've seen what he can do, and I'm sure you've played him a number of times as well.
It's a bit of an interesting one right now. Obviously, as the opponent, I obviously want them to go to 5 and it be 90 minutes long. But so right now it's not ideal. But in my opinion, they both don't look very super comfortable right now. And I think Tim were just forcing it a bit too much at the front of the court, trying to finish those rallies when he just needs to, put the ball where it needs to go.
Well, we've had people watching from Canada, Australia, USA, Luxembourg. I'm sure there's someone from the UK out there. And we've had most of the Fatialofa family and friends. Just wondering if you're from the UK, please feel free to leave a message and say where you're from. Nice rally.
Again, Temwa with the unforced error. A frustrating trend so far in this match for him.
I guess one of the good things is that this is week 1 of 4 tournaments. If you don't do so well in this one, you've got plenty of time in the next 3, although it's the same players every week. You don't want to lose to anybody. You don't want to let them get the one-upmanship on you.
Yeah, definitely not. And, first tournament, everyone's feeling each other out, getting a feel for the court again, the competition. But certainly getting off to a good start is big for the confidence. Squash an individual sport, so very mental game, and getting this first tournament under your belt, very important.
And just to those people who are watching and listening, that at the present time, New Zealand has approximately 46 cases of coronavirus. No new cases today. In fact, that's third day of no new cases within the last 4. And you could say it's been successful so far. We don't want to speak too soon, but today no cases of coronavirus. Yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, 21 people have lost their lives, and that is a real sadness for everybody involved. So, to let people know that there are a wide range of rules and regulations, particularly for sport and gatherings at the moment. And it's great to have Louis, who is awake up there. Well done, Luamba, for waking up to watch your brother.
Louis knowing this court all too well, and both his opponents. I'm sure he'd be wishing he could coach Temwa and get out in court at this present time.
We understand, Luamba, Louis, there's been a lot of fitness training for you, but just you haven't really been able to get out on court. So here's hoping that in the UK, you will be able to do that very soon.
Certainly the home of squash over there, isn't it? So.
And Paul Cole advising Louis to watch and learn. Yes.
Sure,
Well,
PC will be doing his fitness as well, won't he, in this
We
period?
know that Paul Cole's fitness is...
Not that he needs any, yeah. Not that he needs any. I'm sure both of the boys can learn something from this.
I think every match you watch, you can always learn something.
Of course.
Whether or not you take those lessons and use them. I mean, you're watching this because, Joel, you've got to play the winner of it in the final tomorrow.
Yep. Yep.
It's been a strange match.
Strange so far, yeah. Just
It's
not a lot of momentum, yeah. It's just sort of that anticlimax again, isn't it? Yeah, I think I keep using this word, but I feel like neither of the boys are really building their way into the match. It's just sort of been gun ho and not a lot of thought seems to be going into it. Definitely made the effort, but the temptation seems like it's too much.
That's
Working for him there, though, on that back foot. And you just see that ball dying off a little bit more now as well, don't you?
Whereas in your semi-final against Elijah Thomas, there was build-up.
Yeah.
There was build-up to the points and build-up to the actual games as well. This one we just haven't quite got there.
Temwa feeling he got his racket underneath that one.
I mean,
Definitely hard to tell from up here.
yeah. Heather Finlay, the official, and she's done a great job with 4 matches this afternoon.
Intensity just going up here a bit, a few crucial points. Good to see Temwa firing up here now. 9 all, big points now.
Yeah, here's the pressure.
I think
Can Anthony Lepper close it out, or is Temwa able to take it to 4?
Anthony will be very keen to get this across the line in 3 games. Oh. Down and up quick there. Yeah.
Let's try and find a dry towel.
I think PC knows how that feels, if he's still watching. Very familiar feeling for him. Just that hold getting the better
That
of
was
him
good
there.
gymnastics there.
Yeah, as John said, almost like a burpee, wasn't it? Down and up.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a rest now, but that bringing up game ball 10-9 for
All right, let's
Temwa.
see how mentally they react on this one. What are you going to do if you Tem? Do you just play out, or do you go and attack?
Oh. Definitely hard to tell.
I mean, what do you do here, Joel?
I didn't call it broke. I didn't call anything so.
Yeah.
Because he has a delay, and that's why it isn't. So we're playing a lead, so it's 10-9. Game ball.
It seems to be the best thing you can do when you can't set and there's only one official.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's hard to judge for people that haven't been to XL, but we are upstairs, and Heather, our referee here, qualified national referee, I might add, not quite central upstairs, a little bit off to the right, so it is a little bit hard to see, especially that ball hitting the sidewall and bouncing out, so not the easiest to see.
And it's just now that this particular match is so competitive. It's finally got to the competitive stage.
We can hear the intensity going up a gear as these boys try to. Very important game here. Anthony really going for it.
One player trying to take the game and the other one trying to save it.
And that ball just popping back out at Anthony there. Feeling a little bit hard done by, but definitely popping back out.
Yeah, it is the game there to Chileshe, 11-9, and just both players need to take their time. Sydney Anthony are not happy about that and just needs to probably just take the time out.
It's understandable, 2-love up. You're on the brink of getting a quick win in 3 games against a good opponent who he has lost to before. So, some close calls, but Temwa doing well to pinch that set and go into a pretty interesting 4th now.
Yeah. I wonder if we see the momentum, or this is what we're looking for, to actually see the 2 players show their mettle and actually see if they can build, rather than just watch the mistakes and what we saw in the first couple of games. So not too far away with the 4th game of the 2nd semi-final here at the Unsquashable Premier League. Returning now for the 4th game of this, the 2nd semi-final of the Unsquashable Premier League. Luamba Chileshe in the red and in the black, Anthony Lepper, the 2 19-year-olds. And I wonder, Temwa, if he's receiving his advice from his brother, Luamba, who is online at the moment, and Paul Cole out of the Netherlands. Not sure about the advice they're giving right now either.
Very questionable, yes.
Yeah, Joel Arscott, you're through to the final and you've got to play the winner of this match. But good to have the squash community getting behind
lots
squash.
of engagement. It's good to see in these uncertain times. It's good to just... Ooh. Anthony turning on that one and looking straight back, going, "That's a stroke."
pick up.
Both the boys done quite a few courties in this match.
Yeah.
Not a huge amount of structure or attritional play, but it's entertaining squash.
It is. Oh, nice play, that one.
Anthony just conceding before he realised he probably could have got it there.
Now, of course, folks, there is no crowd, no real supporters, just the 8 players and a couple of others organisers. Gatherings around sport of 10 is the allowance at the moment in New Zealand. We're at level 2 and people are loving it. They're able to get out and play some sport, and this is the first elite sport to be held in New Zealand.
4 weeks of hibernating. Oh, he's played it. Very open squash out there at the moment. Both the boys letting their arms go.
It's quite loose, wouldn't you say? Some of these shots are a bit loose.
Yeah, very, very open play, and a lot of angles being used. Everyone's sort of playing that one in slow motion there. It's always the simple ones that everyone seems to mess up.
Nice little shot, using the lob effectively.
A lot of exchanges at the front of the court at the moment. Both the boys taking it in pretty much first time. Probably going to be some very sore legs tomorrow with all those dynamic movements.
What about for you, Paul Arscott? How are you feeling after 2 matches?
So far, so good.
See how you
That's
wake
the
up
main
in the
thing.
morning?
Yeah, sort of playing it by ear at the moment, you know. It's been a while since we've had those feelings, but it is a familiar feeling. Squash bum, as we like to call it. And Temwa just putting one too many balls on Anthony's racket there.
Certainly both players keen to make it into the final. There's no PSL points available, but there is prize money. And that prize money will come in valuable for anybody who's been, well, unable to play tournaments for 7 to 8 weeks, let alone get on a squash court.
Oh, great tidy up there from Temwa, soft hands. So Paul Arscott tuning into the live stream, my dad, saying, "Go Panda." For those that don't know, we call him the Chocolate Panda. Temwa. Also have his older brother Luwamba Chileshe tuning in. Code name the Bemba Warrior.
And a nickname for yourself, Joel?
They refer to me as the Rocket, for obvious reasons. But no, yes, PSA nicknames, not by choice.
Now, just for folks thinking about the New Zealand time, it is 6:15 here. I think was it your game that kept us here for a while?
I think my game got past the 45-minute mark or somewhere around there. Tim were doing well in this middle patch, 8-5. Definitely finding his corners a little bit better and just feeling as though Anthony's dropping off a little bit. I thank everyone on the stream wanting to see this go to 5 and get more squash.
Well, let's see what Anthony Lepper can do here. He's, I wouldn't say he's let himself down. It's more that Rwanda's played himself into the match a bit more.
Still a lot of balls on.
Right.
Still a lot of balls on Anthony's racket. 9-6 though, 3-point buffer.
Well, we saw what that meant in the first game when Chileshe came back
Yeah.
and won about 6 in a row. Still dropped the game, but won about 6 in a row.
Oh, Anthony, just forcing in a few too many times, and just clipping the top of 10 a little bit. Feeling the pressure, I guess. 2-love up, and his opponent's coming back to a possible 2-all, 4-game point. So understandable. Can Temwa close it out here?
Nice. Taking his time to get back into it.
You can just tell neither of the boys want that ball to go to the back of the court. Trying to get it before the back wall.
Oh, good play.
He's read it. Good height. He just changed his mind, didn't he?
Yeah.
He just turned his racket over it.
Oh,
Very frustrating as a player when that happens.
it was almost as if Anthony Lepper wasn't going forward like he was in the first 2 games. The first 2 games he was taking everything almost on the half volley.
Yeah.
But at this one, he seemed to lose that. There he is, practicing going forward now.
Just that adjustment, I feel, the ball, dying off a little bit, and then also the momentum shift as well. How do you deal with that as a player?
All right, well, there we go. We're coming back for the 5th in just a moment because, Temwa Chileshe has done a bit of a comeback. It was Anthony Lepper winning the first 2 games, but Chileshe coming back, taking out the second 2. And we're back for a 5th in just a moment, and looking forward to that one. Welcome back into the 5th game of this, the second semi-final. It is the Unsquashable Premier League. The first squash around the world, from what we understand, of an elite level, and also the first elite level sport in New Zealand after many weeks of lockdown. And great to see 8 players out there on the court at various times. We've had certainly a lot of young players getting their experience, and a lot of predictions coming through of who was going to win this. First 2 games going to Anthony Lepper, and the second to Temwa Chileshe. Let's see what can happen in this 5th. And Joel Arscott, what are you expecting?
Yeah.
We've got plenty of predictions out there online.
Yeah, there's a lot online, but look, it's quick fire stuff so far. The boys taking it in. First opportunity. You can hear the intensity in their heading already in this 5th set. Lots of momentum shifts in this match. Lots of errors coming from both their rackets, but also lots of winners as well. So anyone's pick, toss a coin, I reckon.
Well, Paul Cole's actually asking whether you're the favourite for the final tomorrow. The thing is, you don't have an opponent yet. It's going to be
Don't
one of
have an
these two, Joel.
opponent
I'm not sure you really mind.
Right now, I'm the favourite. Right now.
Yeah, you don't really want to say anything, do you?
No.
Paul, perhaps you could tell us. Perhaps Paul Cole will tell us.
Just the safety there for Anthony.
I'll give you a let for you to play that. He plays quite a bit by the time the ball got to you. So I'm going to play a let, and it's 2-love.
The ball popped over out the middle.
Yes, but he had cleared it, and that by the time the ball had reached you to play.
What are your thoughts on this, Joel?
Yeah, so Heather just explaining. We've seen this a lot lately. You know, these guys are fast. They're trying to make effort to get out of the way, and by the time the ball actually got to Anthony there, Heather saying that there's room to play.
2-love. Carry on.
Well, we've been asked if there's any track record between you, Joel, and either of these players, and I'd say your track record against Temwa is that you're sick of each other.
Yeah.
And against Anthony Lepper, when was the last time you played him? Did you play him in any of the PSA satellites? Yeah.
Not this year. It's been not this year yet. Played him probably a handful of times last year. Actually, not winning on any occasion, but all of them being in the 5th set, and some on this court. He's got to be careful here, though. He doesn't want to get too involved.
Yeah.
With the referee. You know, it's the 5th set. He was 2-love up. He's got to put his mind back on the squash. Definitely a bit of momentum in Temwa's favour right now. John just giving some background on the two players' current track record. Both these boys, definitely lots of competition around that front backhand.
And just a word, Joel, it has cooled down a little bit from what it was this afternoon, even when you played, which was about an hour ago. Is that going to change much for the players from yesterday perhaps to today, or from this afternoon?
Well, right now we can just see that. I think Lepper might have taken that one, but no, the ball's definitely the number one thing. You know, the court cools down, the ball cools down. It's like playing on a totally different thing. So that's the only noticeable difference as a player. Four-point buffer now. 4-point buffer now for Temwa, and Anthony's got to be careful here. He's getting a little bit involved with the referees. It's sort of understandable, you know, when you're 2-love up and your opponent comes back. Definitely venting his frustration a little bit, but getting a cheap error from Temwa there though.
Now we're using the back of the court a lot more compared to the first two games when there was hardly any shots.
A little bit more height on the front wall, definitely. Don't think the boys were using the front wall very much. A lot of slapping, a lot of middle court kind of stuff in the last 4 games. Using a lot more height down that backhand wall. Very much on that one.
Gee,
Skating on thin ice there.
I hadn't seen that
Great
before.
shot though. Great shot there from Temwa.
A server almost taking himself out.
You could almost ask for a bet on that one as well. Temwa definitely getting in front of Lepper a little bit more here. Lepper
Dominating it physically as well, being in a
Yeah.
position.
Lepper got to try and get some height and just getting an error from, I think that's all that pressure really that Temwa put on him in that rally, getting the reward. That's better from Anthony, trying to use the front wall. Just as I say that, clipping the front.
Well, there we go. Into the match ball. If you had said this midway through the second game,
Yeah, yeah.
you wouldn't have thought so, would you?
No. Great shot there from
Oh.
Lepper getting one back.
Yeah.
But no, it's been a strange match. A lot of momentum shifts, but Tim was showing his class, coming back from 2-love down.
I think you also got to remember that for the umpire there, she's done 4 games in a row now as well.
Yeah. Got to cut her some slack, give credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
You know,
Players are tired.
she's not getting paid. She's out of here on her own time.
Yeah.
And yes, players are getting tired. And
Yeah.
it is the 5th set.
Yeah.
Last game of the day, the late shift.
And it goes 5. You always know the
it
last
goes-
game of
yeah.
the day is going to do that. You better just be careful here, Tim. You've dropped the last couple of points.
We saw him go for the cross-court neck before. Just got to...
Well, there we go. That is Temwa Chileshe through.
Strange finish to that one.
It was. It was a strange finish, but he has through the final. He wins in 5 games after a bit of a comeback from 2-love down, defeating Anthony Lepper. And I guess a word there, because for you, Joel, you're going to have to take on your mate, Temwa. You guys have played each other. How many times over the last
Fancy
7
that.
or 8 weeks would you have played each other on this court?
Oh, honestly, it would be at least 2 dozen in the last 4 weeks.
Right.
At least.
All right, well, I should ask you then how many you won and how many he won.
Look, I'm up right now. I haven't kept a huge track record, but I'd like to think I'm in the up.
Okay, well, we'll just have to wait and see tomorrow. And as we come back, 3 o'clock New Zealand time for several matches. We've got a plate final and also your final as well. Thank you very much for everybody around the world, Paul Cole, Luamba, everybody else in all of those countries as well. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow for the final. Thank you.
We were talking about it. When the ball hits the top of the tin, only a nice slight, because it's
I know, and it's
it deviates only very, very slightly, and only the players can really get anyone close to it.
I know.
Right?
But they both said, whatever.
Even the replay on Squash TV, they can't see that because they don't have any
No, I don't think it's probably associated with fun if you can. And it's all in and I don't get all curry with me because you make such shots. And you're well known for sticking your ass in there. You could really argue on those. I think I'm usually doing a very easy strike. I think I was only going to do my leg myself.
Yeah, no, we're sweet. What? Yeah. No, good. We'll do it tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. We'll have a decent class tomorrow.